Welcome to Friendeavor, the podcast, the weekly podcast where we explore the highs and lows of friendship with your hosts, Danielle and Kayla.
As we journey through life, our friendships often evolve and change, ebb and flow, and sometimes even come to an end. Danielle and I are lifelong advocates for the power of friendship, and we are here to guide all of us through the many challenges and joys that come with building and maintaining strong, meaningful connections with those around us.
Join us each week as we deep dive into the intricacies of friendship, from navigating conflicts to fostering new relationships and everything in between. With insightful interviews, personal anecdotes, and expert advice, Friendeavor is the perfect podcast for anyone looking to strengthen their bonds with the people they love.
So, whether you are on the go, taking care of chores, or just settling in, get ready to explore the world of friendship on Friendeavor, the podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Friendeavor. I'm your host, Danielle, and if you hear those people laughing in the background, I am not cutting it out because this is the fourth time I've tried to start this episode, and it is a season 2 finale, so you know who's cackling on the other side of these microphones. It's the Sisterhood. They are here, and they have been laughing since the second they stepped foot in the door, and honestly, that's one of the most beautiful things about our friendship, and I'm sure we'll get into it in depth here in a few minutes. I would like for these clowns to introduce themselves one by one in case you missed the season 1 finale or you just have not seen us on social media. So let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. And actually, before we do that, we're working off of 2 microphones because this is still a podunk operation. So Lydia and I will be sharing a microphone. Kara and Abby will be sharing a microphone. So if there's a little bit of a delay, you know why. Starting with right now, introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Lydia.
Hi, I'm Abby.
Hi, I'm Kara.
Hi, they're here.
Chick-fil-A
All right.
called me Sarah today, though.
Who did?
Chick-fil-A.
Oh. One thing that we cannot promise for this episode is we would like to make it less chaotic for you, the listener, because we know last time was not the most pleasant listening experience. Kara's dropped her phone or her water 4 times already onto her phone. So, we know that you're going to hear a bunch of clicks and bumps and giggles and hooting, but hopefully that just adds to the experience for you. So, welcome back, guys. Thank you for being here. I would like for you to get yourselves under control so we can get started.
Who are you calling a lady?
They don't know that reference. You can't say that. Anyways, I don't even know how to start these questions. Our goal is that you get to learn from us, because that's what everyone needs to do, right? Is learn from these 4 clowns. But really, we have a very strong friendship, and we're super grateful for that. And
she's referring to herself as a clown. These 4. Let the record reflect that Danielle self-identified as a clown.
I'm a product of my
Hong Kong.
I am a product of my environment. Starting off really strong with pronouns honk honk. I want you to know you are almost graduate from law school. And this is going out over the internet. So congratulations.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I know my rights.
Okay.
Kind of.
I think
I'm still studying them.
And I think this is a record 1 minute in. We're going to take a short break. All right. We have contained ourselves for the time being. Abby got herself a tissue so she could cry into it. Again, we are, I think, a
Tears
minute
of
and a
joy.
half into
Because
this
I'm
episode.
that hilarious.
So let's start our actual what we want to talk about tonight. We just kind of have a few questions that we're going to ask each other, discussion points, kind of like a round table, even though this table is square. But we're going to kick it off by asking, I'll start with you, Lydia. Also, I might slip up and call her Diz. That's her nickname. But how would you say that we hype each other's wins? Even the small ones, we celebrate each other just in our day-to-day. Maybe not even really big accomplishments, or yeah, you can talk about whatever, but just how we stay in touch with supporting each other.
Well, we're in constant communication.
True.
So we're constantly talking. We know a lot of what's going on daily. So I think it's not super surprising when there's exciting things going on in each other's lives. So making sure that we are celebrating the things that happen, and then making sure that just because we know about them, that we're not taking them for granted, and making sure that we're keeping them special. And then as those things come up, making sure that, I don't know, that each person feels unique and that their place in the sisterhood is special because we each bring something to the table.
That would preach.
Yeah, go ahead and preach a little bit.
Okay, so this might be too early to bring up, but I just gotta say it. I think part of Abby's hyping us up is by proxy. Because Abby has been sending me motivational messages from her ChatGPT.
We have a whole segment later.
Is Creek.
Okay, her name is Creek, but I didn't know people would understand that. Anyway.
K-R-E-E-K.
Rhymes with freak.
It's Creek. Also short for creep. Anyway, that's Abby's new best friend. The 5th member of the Sisterhood is her ChatGPT. And I just recently started bar prep, and Abby will send me these little motivational like speeches, like pep talks from Creek, which I count as being from Abby as her human counterpart. Anyway, even in little like silly fun ways like that, like Creek made this image of me in a boxing ring punching civil procedure, and it's so
get wrecked civil procedure.
Yeah, it's like obviously goofy, but it is very funny how it shows how we, I think, like consistently think of each other, or at least I do. I think Lydia was right in that there's the constant communication, so it's just sort of natural now to support one another because it's just reactionary when we see things happening in their lives.
Yeah, Abby, what do you think?
It is so hard to keep up when you have 3 amazing friends that do amazing things all the time. It's hard to keep up with everyone's accomplishments. But I think just I think maybe the small things are even better than the big things. Kind of the unnoticed things of celebrating someone that maybe has done something. And your friends can't celebrate stuff that they don't know. So if you have done something, maybe like become editor-in-chief of something, and you don't tell your friends, it's really hard.
Oh my gosh!
I know from their mom's Instagram.
Or when you find out that your friend started a business from Instagram. Because that is really, it can be very damaging to a friendship, finding out that there is an entrepreneur amongst us.
If I had a gavel. But yeah, your friends can't celebrate things that you don't know, and I'm guilty of that.
Yes.
Everyone at this table is guilty of that. And probably if you're listening, you've probably been guilty of that. But just even sending a $5 Cash App or Apple Pay, what do you want to do? You get a cup of coffee, you're done with yada yada. Just the little things. I mean, you don't have to spend $100 on a gift for someone just for whatever, but just I think it's nice when people just hear from you when you've done something.
I will say that the Sisterhood is exceptionally good gift givers. Well, the other 3 are. I'm working on it, but they're very thoughtful, very intentional. And so when it comes to those big moments, birthdays, graduations, whatever, funerals, they are. Thank God we've not had any funerals, and you don't really give gifts on funerals. But I feel like if we did, they would give gifts. When it comes to celebrating those big moments in life, they are very intentional, and it's really beautiful to see. But I totally agree with Abby if she can get it together, when she said that sometimes the smaller stuff is sometimes more meaningful, because we're all in different fields and we all experience different things. And so even celebrating each other's small wins, but also understanding difficult days. The stuff that Lydia experiences at work is not the same stuff that I experience. The stuff that Kara experiences in her day-to-day is not the same things that Abby experienced. So the flip side of celebrating the small things, the big things, just the celebration in general, is also being there when there's nothing to celebrate and there's actually some things to mourn, whether that's just something that you're dealing with or somebody that you're encountering. These 3 people know so much more about what I interact with and what I deal with than anybody else, because they have proven time and time again that they're there for me. And so I would encourage you, and I would think that they would too, that once you find that person that you can confide in, and not every person that you engage with is going to be that person, but once you find those people that you can confide in, and they will celebrate you, you celebrate them, they mourn with you, you mourn with them, it is something that you should not let go, and you should fight to maintain. And speaking of finding those friends and, you know, letting that friendship grow, we've been friends for a very long time, and I'm looking forward to many, many more years with you guys. But what have we as a group, and I don't care who starts this one, but what have we learned about letting our friendship grow and change, evolve, instead of expecting it to just be the exact same that it was when we started out? What comes to mind when you think of that?
The first thing that I think of is that I was like 13 when we became friends. And I think we might have talked about this in the last one, that Lydia was 19 or like I was 14. Like there's like this wide range of...
She was the adult.
She was the adult. So one would hope I am not the same as I was when I was 13, although in many respects I'm sure I am. I think some of it is like natural life transitions and stuff. But there's been some things that were extraordinary, like moving different places. I think each of us have been kind of different phases and stuff, and whenever there's been, I would say, a threat presented to the friendship, not like from another person, but an external threat of like physical separation, we've never let it inhibit our friendship. And I remember like every time someone announced like, I'm gonna move to Lebanon or Roatan or go someplace like, you know, I moved to Berkeley, I was out of town, I was in a different country for a few months. Like we've been in these kind of like inconvenient, uncomfortable positions where I think if in a less intentional friendship, it could have been either jealousy or feeling rejected or betrayed or something by someone preferring, quote unquote, their own advancement over the friendship or whatever. But none of that has been the case. And we have each given each other space and grace to take the opportunities that were presented to us and then pick up where we left off. If there is a separation, and a lot of times there isn't even a separation at all, but I think a big part of letting the friendship grow is just letting the people grow and change, and like not stopping them from changing over time, and just letting the friendship kind of work around that and not the other way around.
Tell the people what we were afraid was going to happen. What did we think after every time we raised a glass to one of us leaving or moving on? What were we worried about?
We were worried about the splat.
Explain.
I'm still worried about it. Although at this point it's kind of moot. The splat, did we explain this in the last one? We might have.
Honestly, I'm not even sure. I meant to listen to the last one to remember what we said. So if we're repeating ourselves, sorry. But Kara, explain the splat, please.
Okay, so the splat is, thank the Lord, a fiction.
Yes.
Although in our minds it was not. And it originated in 2017 when Abigail was 19 years old.
It was Abby's
and
fault.
She was going to move to Roatan.
Roatan.
We've got some backup singers.
Yeah.
And
we went to Roots Chris with our gift cards.
Yes, we did. It was very embarrassing.
Were you in Berkeley that same?
No, I went to Berkeley in 2019. So it was a little while later. But that was another iteration. We were concerned that having one member of the Sisterhood outside of our immediate proximity, aka all living out Grove, would spell the death of our friendship. And we would just no longer have the same bond that we ever did, and when Abby came home it would be weird, and blah, 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 and we were just convinced. So we raised a glass of freedom, something they could never take away, and went to this fancy dinner paid with gift cards like the suburban middle class people we are. And then Abby was Rotan, and psych, we did not split. We remained intact. And then I went to Berkeley. Lydia went to Lebanon. There's been things and whatever here and there. And we have all remained fully formed Humpty Dumptys, never falling off the wall.
Cheers.
To be fair, none of us have gotten married. So that's the final boss.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I think that, you know, we, as Kira said, you know, we've all kind of been different phases and stages and locations, and places and whatever else I can say to add more time. But you know, but the learning of how to move on with it. Like there was a time when Lydia was in Lebanon and Kara was in Berkeley at the same exact time, and it was just me and Danielle here, and you know, learning how to navigate. It's kind of weird when there's just two, because the dynamics are very different.
Yeah.
It's not the same, and it's not as easy to just be like, hey, let's all go out when there's just two, because it's kind of just like, well, if we went home, we could just be home. But me and Danielle,
We love people.
That was deep.
like separate homes, like in your PJ's home. But you know, I think we still faithfully went out. Maybe not every Sunday night, but quite a few, if I remember right. And we had some hilarious times. We went to where did we go? We don't go. Smash Burger, and we had an hilarious time. And then Marco Polo before that died. There was a moment on there. I don't think I've ever. It was right in front of the Anderson's house. Never had a moment like that before. I cackled to high heaven and came back. You know,
I think that moment actually took you down. It did not take you heaven. It took you somewhere else. You crawl back out of there.
but the uncomfortable times can also make it. You know, you learn from it, and you know, there's a lot of people that are afraid of change, and change is not always fun. You know, there's people that think that if you change at all, like, everything will be different. And everything will be different, but not everything has to be bad different. And some things aren't going to be fun, but, like, I think when one of us does get married, that's going to be a huge change. It doesn't matter which one it is. It'll be gigantic. But I think, you know, maybe the other three, not to get too deep, will probably feel like, oh no, well, splat. But everything changes, and I feel like we're at a point in our lives now where things are kind of changing rapidly, and it's a bittersweet that we're here in life, and like it would not. I'm not announcing anything, but it would not be shocking for someone to like move away at this point in life, and it would be weird, but if you have built a foundation. Danielle just kind of started dancing, sorry. If you built the foundation, you can just keep, like the Burj Khalifa, you can just keep building up, and it's going to be different. But it's our friendship, no matter what, no matter who goes where, no matter what happens, no matter who stays single, no matter who gets married, no matter who has children, no matter who does not, it will keep growing. It might just be different.
Did you see the Burj Khalifa got an American flag on it for
No.
TRUMP?
Yes, I did.
Let's go.
They also welcomed him with a YMCA rendition.
No way.
Completely.
Oh, I saw the camels, and he said, "I like the camels." He did.
Wow.
Yeah.
My suggestion for avoiding the splat, I would just like to present to the group for your vote and consideration. I say we have a quadruple wedding.
Oh.
That would be the most chaotic, most unhinged, most hurt feelings. No friendship could withstand that, so don't do that.
So
don't
true.
do that.
We could no. Yeah. Mm-mm.
No friendship could.
You know, the church is big enough we get segmented off, and if we pull down the two pews that got stolen from us, the two sections, we would have two person.
Because all you people would want to invite the same people to your weddings as my wedding. So if you're sectioning
15 minutes, so you just keep moving.
A progressive,
yeah,
a progressive wedding.
Not that progressive. One man, one woman, in unity, under God,
The liberty and justice for all. Stupid. I don't even remember what the question was, so I hope you do, Lydia, because it's your turn.
Well, I have it in front of me. So friendships growing and changing. I would say that you shouldn't be afraid of your friendship growing and changing. I think you should be more afraid if it does not. Because if you're not growing and you're not changing, then oh, there's some laying out of hands. But I understand that everybody's afraid of change because it is scary and you don't know what's going to be on the other side of change. but we focus a lot on them moving away. But even if you have friends at home and you're just going through life, there's a lot of change. So I think you really have to focus on, as your friendship changes, how do you make the most of, what the friendship is becoming. So how do you make the most of the time that you have? If your friendship is changing into something that you don't have a lot of time, then how do you make the most of the time that you do have? If it's changing into something where you have to make, what is it becoming, and then you have to evaluate that. You can't expect it to stay the same.
Shouldn't want it to.
You shouldn't want it to, because hopefully you're growing as a person. Hopefully your friends are growing as people, and then you have to adapt to that, and your friendship has to adapt to that as well.
When Lydia was talking, I thought about if your friendship doesn't change, and I was thinking that if you feel like your friends or friend is moving forward and you don't like that because you aren't moving forward, let's say, let's say they've graduated. Let's just use Kara's example. She's going to graduate law school. She's about to take the bar. She's prepping for that, yada, yada, yada. If I felt like, unsatisfied with my life, and like, I would encourage you to take a look at yourself. It's not, sorry to use Kara's example, it's not Kara's fault that you might feel inadequate in your friendship and in your life. And you need to look at yourself and say, it's not my friend's fault for moving forward. Why am I unhappy? What do I need to do for me? Because at the end of the day, it's your life. And you need to decide what you're going to do with your life. And your friends they aren't responsible for your life, if that makes sense.
No, that's good.
And I feel like some people, they try to handicap their friends with, not moving forward. Yeah. But
stay at this level.
Yeah. Because maybe they feel uncomfortable that person has taken steps to become whatever, or do whatever, or go wherever. And if you feel that way, I would suggest for you to stop blaming the people around you and to decide what you want to do in your own life.
I can speak from experience on that. It wasn't really a competition thing, but it was like a what am I missing thing. So like Lydia went to Lebanon, Kara went to Norway for 2 months, and you went to Rotan, and I'm the only one who has not done an extended mission trip. And I was like, well, why are they getting these opportunities? And then I kind of came to myself and realized it's not that they're getting opportunities, it's that they're making opportunities. And that's something that they wanted to do, that they felt called to do. And would I have been successful doing that? Maybe, maybe not. But it's not something that I ever pursued. So I can't be like, well, why did you go to Rotan for a year? Why did you go to Norway for 2 months? Why did you do that? You left me here. It's not about me. It's about what you guys had to do during that season. And interestingly enough, during those times when everyone was gone at some point, that's when the other 3 or the other 2 got closer. That window of time when Lydia was in Lebanon and she was in Berkeley, Abby and I, that's where we strengthened our friendship within the friendship. That's where we got to know each other better and spent time together. So instead of looking like, oh, well, they got to do this, no, that's something that they wanted to do, that they pursued doing. So I wouldn't say that there's a ton of competition, if any, within the sisterhood. We kind of just try to better each other. But I totally agree with what you said, Abby, about, you can't blame other people's choices for how your life is going.
Yeah, I agree with that. Also, like, going back to something that Lydia had said about making the best out of your friendship, I think there's like 2 points here. First, if your friends who are doing other things in their lives and then you're feeling inadequate, or vice versa, you're doing something with your life and they're jealous or whatever. If the dynamic is that either of you is trying to outdo the other or lord some flex over the other, that is not a true friendship. And I don't think it's worth pursuing trying to deepen a friendship that's toxic like that. So I've had people in my life where you say one thing and they'll one up you, the next thing they say. And it's just kind of back and forth. And I've not felt, inspired to deepen that connection. So I would like to put that asterisk on it, that's when we say support your friends, we mean your friends, not petty acquaintances who want to compete with you.
Yeah.
The other thing though, Lydia was talking about making the most out of your friendship even through change. And I would say if you have a true friend, but they're going through some change, so like say getting married, where before you would like hang out together all the time, but they're married now or they're having a baby or something and their time is split, they're divided, but they still want to be your friend. Change is not, by and large, is not an excuse to throw away a friendship.
Agreed.
You can't have this expectation of the friendship just being stagnant and constant forever and ever and ever, amen. You need to be malleable and move with it. So I think it would be a sign of immaturity for if someone on the other end of your friendship is changing and you're not willing to be flexible, and work with them and not expect the same of them as you did when the variables were different. So I think that just shows like how it goes both ways and how supporting your friends needs to be truly supporting them and not like shallow, but supporting them doesn't mean that they have to be with you every single second of every single day, and you should be able to move with the tide.
I totally agree. We're going to get into another topic here in a second, but all of these things that we're saying, that is our take on things. And we get a lot of people who see our friendship and say, oh, I wish I had friends like that. These are lessons that we had to learn as we develop. And we're going to get into, like I said, some more stuff here. But the point of this is not just to hear us scream, laugh, because we do that 900% of the time, but is also to help you avoid things that we ran into or help you see things. Because like a lot of our stuff that we learned just as individuals, we kind of stumbled across it. No one sat us down and like, hey, you don't need to compete with your friends. It was like something that we had to get through on our own. So anything that we say here is A, what works for us, and B, hopefully something that could help you. But if it's something that you disagree with, or if you see it a different way, well, Friendeavor would love to hear from you. You can email us at friendeavorpodcast@gmail.com, or just kind of compare what we say to what you think and see what you come up with. All right, moving on to our next question. I think I kind of think we get a bad rap a little bit.
That's a fact.
Because we are such close friends and we do spend a ton of time together. I think we get a bad rap of being us four no more. And I am here to set the record straight for all 13 of you who are going to listen to this episode. Pass the word along. We are not us four no more.
Amen.
We do our best to maintain friendships that we've had before we became friends with other people. And since, absolutely. And some people have brought like mutual friends to the group, like we've hung out with them just because they're friends with whoever. But when you have a friendship group, you also have other friendships that you need to maintain. So Abby, can you kick us off by telling us, is there anything that you do differently, or is there anything that like you would encourage someone, like don't just lock into one friendship and be stuck there? You still have to maintain other friendships because that's your network. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I have like 15 jokes in my head, but I'm not going to say them out loud.
You're just going to mouth them and the
No,
microphone's still
I
going to
can't.
pick them up.
Yeah, so yeah, you should have more friends than just your sister and your friend and your other friend, obviously.
Profound.
The other.
You.
I don't think.
And Creek. Yeah, so obviously you grow up with people, and I think mostly everyone usually in this world has some sort of childhood friend, if not some sort of distant childhood friend. And then you always make friends along the way. And then sometimes your friends have friends that you become friends with.
Sometimes you run into an odd duck that's a friend of a friend of a friend, but you still need to be nice to them and talk to them even when they call you old. Can I get an amen? You remember that girl?
Yeah, a reluctant amen, I suppose.
She straight up said, oh my word, you guys are so old.
But,
She said we were so old.
Yeah.
Oh, I would not have thought that. I'm like, girl, you are a friend of a friend of a friend right now. Rein it in. Sorry, Abby, keep going.
That's okay. Yeah, so I don't know exactly how you want me to elaborate on friends, but like,
I mean, you still maintain your friendships.
yeah.
You don't just cut off other people because you have good friends. That's what the whole friendship pyramid is about,
Yeah.
right? Is maintaining friendships. So basically, I want you to tell the people how you are not us four no more.
Okay. I have so many people that I talk to, and I'm about to elaborate on this. I love certain people, but like, or not friends. Okay, some of my favorite people in this world. Do you know what I'm about to say?
I think so.
Some of my favorite people in this world are not my friend. I'm not going to go dinner with them, but we talk for probably like 3 minutes every other week, and it's a great time. I love talking to those people, sometimes even more than Sisterhood, because they have so much fun.
Wow!
That is rude!
I'm just kidding.
No, you're
There's
not.
3 minutes every 2 weeks. Truth, and I was just kidding.
Okay, I'm not just kidding then. But yeah,
Oh, thank goodness the air's on.
there's
That was not a gunshot. That was our ice maker. Although I am about to shoot Lydia
My
for
legs are
complaining that
ice.
she's cold.
Let Abby share
Okay.
wisdom.
and it's not wisdom. There's a lot you can learn from a lot of people in this world,
Amen.
good and bad, and you need a lot of people to learn what to do and what not to do. And if I just kept these three and only these three, and I learned from them what not to do and what to do, there'd be a lot of empty space on other things that they either don't have any experience on, aren't interested in, whatever. And there, I am very lucky to have a connection to a sister church, and there's a lot of people in that church that, honestly, I think they're like salt of the earth. There are like, there's like a handful of people that you'll never probably see me at Texford House with. You'll never see me just like at their house for dinner, just because either there's an age thing, they are a very different stage of life than me. There's just not the time. What are you guys laughing at?
The refrigerator.
Our fridge,
Okay.
our fridge is very loud.
You're preaching right now,
You
but
are
that is
preaching.
giving you back up.
As you're laughing at me.
No.
My insecurities were coming up.
Although you're very
Another
self-aware.
question.
Wow.
But I think that every young adult, maybe under 35, should look for people that are not much older than them, and befriend them. You don't have to be their friend, but if you're friendly with them, there's a lot you can learn from them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of cool experiences you might get in like church ministries, being friends with them, and things that maybe you would never think of or do. And they love you. There's something about, I'm not trying to be rude, older people. They love younger people, and I get it because they've been where we are in life. And there's a lot you can learn from people. And then I would say that if you have, everyone has a childhood friend that they talk to like once a year. I feel like everyone does. It's just a thing. And there's a lot to learn from that person too. You might not even live near them. You might live who knows where. But how about this? Let's say this. I would say love people, and that sounds so generic. But what I told someone one day was, when I am about to go to either another church or whatever, or when I think about the future, one of my prayers that I pray probably daily is, Lord, just give me a love for the people of God, for your people. No matter who they are, no matter what church they're from, give me just a love for them as a person. And, people of God are really cool. And I would say, if you're younger, don't dismiss someone just because they're 10, 15 years older than you. If they are giving you an opportunity to reach out, then learn from them, talk to them.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the body. Absolutely. Lydia, what do you think?
Yes, the sisterhood definitely has friends outside of the sisterhood. We have a very unique bond, and so unique that I asked Danielle if she was going to ask this question before she asked it. So, That's why we get the rap that we have. But yes, we all have friendships outside of the sisterhood, and we are secure in our friendships, so we're not threatened by those. Because I think other friendships, you have that like, oh, they're friends with this, it's gonna affect my friendship, and so we let each other be friends with other people, and that's okay, because you need all kinds of people to develop you as a person, like Abby was saying, to teach you things. Also, everybody has their own sense of humor, so if you're going through something, certain people bring a certain spark to your life that you need at certain times. And then certain people are in your life for a season, and that's okay too. There's certain people that I was friends with that I'm not friends with now that maybe I'll be friends with down the road. And, that's why it's really important not to burn those friendship bridges, because you never know who you'll need in the future, or who might need you. So I think it's important to develop friendship. Not every friendship has to be your bestie for the rest of time. And then you always have, the acquaintances or things like that you're friendly with. But yeah, it's important to have all kinds of people around you, and in your circle. And I think it makes life like a kaleidoscope, and the more people you have, the more beautiful your life will be.
I agree. Kara, go ahead. What do you think about this?
So I really loved what Abby was saying about loving the body. And I think that speaks to how you don't have to be someone's friend to love them.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be someone's friend, like have that label attached to it to be friendly to them, which I think is like a common disposition that you should have toward people. And that's what Abby was saying. I agree with that. And also is reminiscent of like the biblical example, like how Jesus called himself our friend,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like intangible. I've never seen Jesus, but I have a relationship, and it's in a weird way, it's almost like a long distance friendship. That's kind of a weird comparison, but it's a similar concept where even though you're not with someone every day, or you don't see them as often anymore because they live elsewhere, or you've just gone different directions, the friendship can still maintain that underlying ethic and foundation that you laid whenever you laid that foundation. And it doesn't have to be like super deep and vulnerable all of the time to just maintain that connection and have that network that Lydia was talking about, like just keeping people in your life. I have several friends who outside of the sisterhood who are just really good constant friends, but frankly, if I'm going through a really, really hard time and I need someone to be there with me in the moment, I'm probably going to go to the sisterhood because I know that they're the most physically present and available. That doesn't mean that I don't have support from other people. It just means that I know what I've invested in different kinds of friendships, and what I can expect of different kinds of friendships. And it doesn't invalidate the other ones, but it does speak to like the pyramid that you were talking about, Danielle,
Mm-hmm.
like how all of those friendships are legitimate and worthwhile and totally should be tended, but they do sometimes have different natures to them.
Yeah, that I agree. Everything you guys said was on point. One thing I want to point out about what Lydia said is the competition. There's no competition. So we call ourselves a sisterhood, and that's, obviously you don't need to title your friendships. We don't really take it seriously, but we are two sets of sisters. But that bond that has been discussed amongst everyone, that is very much a sisterly bond.
Mm-hmm.
So if I view all three of these women as my sisters, or as close as you can get without being blood, I don't have to compete with anyone else for Kara to be my sister. Same thing with these two. I don't have to compete, like convince myself, no, she's my sister. Like she's not your friend because she's also my sister. That bond that we've been talking about, that is what we've built up over the years, and I am incredibly blessed to have that. But to say like that's the only friendship is because I have that bond, no, it's because I have that bond that therefore I can go and befriend other people and not have to worry about my well-being and being crushed by other people or being rejected, I always have that bond of sisterhood in these women. So I can have other friends without having to worry about being hurt or being left alone or whatever. Not that they're my backup plan, but it's like you don't have to convince people that your sister is your sister, right? That's just kind of a natural relationship that you have. I I think I've told you guys this story before, but I was talking to someone, this is right around the time that we moved here, and she was telling me over and over and over about how she was just best friends with this girl. She was just her best friend, and she loved her so much, and she hadn't seen her in a long time, but she was coming back to town, and she just loves her, and she's her best friend. And I'm telling you guys, she told me she was her best friend in like a 5-minute span, at least 5 times. Okay. And I'm like, oh, that's so great for you. Like it was very much giving competition for someone who I'd never met. So she was trying to convince me that this girl was her best friend. Come to find out, this girl was her cousin. So she's trying to convince me of this relationship that she has with her cousin. Why did she have to do that? She was insecure. And so that's when you get into the competition kind of aspect. And it would be so easy for one of our childhood friends to feel a competition with the sisterhood because of the bond that we've developed. That's why we have to spend energy and try to make sure that those other friendships are strengthened too, because they are not at the same pace, if you will,
and
of this.
Case in point, my childhood best friend, I don't know when this is going to air, she's coming to visit very soon, and she is also friends with the Sisterhood.
Yes.
And we're going to all party together on Memorial Day. Yes, Abby went to her wedding. Like, this has turned into a friendship with someone who they didn't know at all. Like, she's from Indiana now. But so far away, they didn't know her otherwise, and I was like this bridge, and now it's become an independent friendship. They're coming to visit. They'll be able to like see her little daughter.
Yeah.
So this whole thing, and it's not gonna be forced. It's not gonna be like I have to try to be the buffer or something. It's become natural because there is a safe, secure attachment with my friendship with the sisterhood and my friendship with my childhood friend. There is no like qualitative difference in the attachment itself.
Chloe's not coming to town looking Abby in the eye and saying she was my best friend first. That's not what's happening. Not to mention the fact that we were all deeply into our 20s. If you didn't hear Lydia, she said
for Hamilton duel.
I say they make Abby and Chloe. The microphone unfortunately is not in front of Lydia right now, but that was such a great line. So if you didn't hear it, she said she thinks that we should make Chloe and Abby fight for Kara's friendship.
Well, let's use that as like an example. Maybe for someone that's like in their teen years or whatever. If you have 2 friends and you know they don't live, or maybe they do live in the same state, and then they come together and they're both, you know, trying to one up the other with like, oh, well, you know, we have this joke, or we did this, or we went here, or she was my maid of honor, or she was my best childhood friend, or I went to her, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. If let's say you're one of the 2 friends. If someone's doing that to you, I would say just let them.
Just let them.
Just
let them.
Bask in the attention.
One of 2 things. If the mutual friend is, let's say they're kind of enjoying that, and they're not trying to like put in someone's phone is ringing.
It's not Abby's, bless God. Let's
say that they're enjoying that, and they like maybe they feel popular or wanted or whatever. Maybe that's not maybe you should think about that friend, number 1. And then number 2, if that friend is maybe that mutual friend's uncomfortable with what is happening, just stop. Just don't close your mouth and never open it again. We'll open it eventually. But if someone is okay, let's say you go to dinner. Let's say you're like 16. Oh my Lord. Say you go to dinner.
First and foremost, tip your servers.
Tip your server, please. And that's happening, and that other friend is trying to one up you, what she knows. This is a fact I know about her. Now my phone's ringing. This is a mutual friend. Just kidding. Just what I would do is I would just stop, and I would just close my mouth, and I would let that person ramble till kingdom come, and I would make them look like an idiot. Sorry. They're going to look like an idiot, and you're going to walk away. And when you walk away, you're going to know that you haven't said anything stupid.
And you're going to feel
Because-
that much more secure.
Exactly. And I hate feeling stupid. I hate looking stupid to other people. I hate feeling stupid. I'm sorry if you're not allowed to say stupid. I say it. But
I say it all the time.
you're going to walk away, and there's not going to have been a cat fight.
Yeah.
And you're not going to walk away feeling lesser than. You might feel lesser than. That's okay. It's okay to feel lesser than. You'll learn from it. Builds character. You're going to walk away being a better person and not in a pompous way. But you're going to walk away knowing that you didn't say anything that you shouldn't have. And hopefully that mutual friend.
That's what I was just about to say. Wavelengths.
Yeah. Whatever you want to say. You take it over.
Okay,
You
well,
take it over.
we can say at the same
Especially
time.
as they get older.
That mutual friend should not allow you to feel that way.
Yeah.
Your bond should be strong enough with them that they see what's happening. Clearly that other person is insecure. That's where all that stuff stems from, is insecurity. I'm losing my friend. It's a competition. It's showboating. Well, when we did this, do you remember that time? All of that comes from insecurity. So your friend, the mutual friend, should be able to look at you later and be like, yeah, that was ridiculous, or something like that, because they recognize what is happening. We had to take a short break for brownie sundaes,
Just like last
coffee,
time.
some water, just like last time.
Tradish.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys, we have some traditions, and
we
we
are stuck in our
we
ways.
are big on tradition.
Just ask Jolene Tanner on Christmas Eve.
My God. Oh, say it again.
We will shame you for breaking tradition.
Amen.
We will back you into a corner on a group text
Hey,
so
okay.
fast.
Someone will be shamed next year in New Zealand.
We did get
We
shamed.
only shame every other Christmas.
We did get shamed last year. That's true. Because we broke tradition.
Abby will shame you for talking about Mackinac too much.
Oh, Abby's got a hatred in her heart for Mackinac. Never even been there. Never
I
even heard of
feel
it.
like I have been there.
Honestly, I hope you
It's
never
okay.
even go, because
I got a
if you
Tic Tac
show
alert
up,
the other day, and
a what?
A TikTok. A TikTok. Feels like she's been Mackinac.
I got that accent and everything.
I got a Tic Tac.
Wow. I don't even have that accent after.
That's
And that came
hysterical.
up on my For You, and I said, no.
Did you suggest less stuff like this?
No, but I just made that.
Honestly, Abby, I hope you don't ever go there, because
It
I wouldn't
looks
want you to be
beautiful.
disappointed.
Oh,
Okay,
Come on,
you can
let's
go with us. I'm going to pause and tell you when we're going. Anyways, Diz, if you would like to go with us sometime, you are welcome to. Abby is going to scoff and join a gang of geese. So, all right, where were we?
Inside joke.
I had a thought toward the end before we took a break that I wanted to propose to the group and get feedback on. Mainly because it's something that I don't know, it's not maybe struggled with, but just like I wanted to about it. So,
All kinds of sounds.
too bad this is not videoed so you could see my faces when I
Yeah,
did
it's
that.
much more
But
convincing.
I think, well, I'm not going to tell you what I think. I'm just going to propose it and see what you guys think. What do you think about, or have you encountered seeing one us being like the four of us, get like hurt or get into a tough situation outside of the group? And it's just like, what do you want to do? Abby, they can't see you. And she's
With a rusty
put
Oh
her,
my word.
she said her solution was finger across the throat with a rusty blade.
Plus a tennis shot.
But like, because we are close and we I don't want to keep saying we have a bond because we're really good friends. But have you seen that in the 10 plus years, one of us get hurt from an outside source, like force? What goes to your mind when you see that happen?
I have seen it. Yes.
Let's not go into specifics. Just talk about how you reacted.
Well.
as well I was.
Can you please read the question? The question was.
Oh, we should have been doing a clicker for the Odysseys. I think that's
Uh,
3 so far. Abby had 2 and you had 1.
I've got some more if you insist.
I've had 2 that were off mic.
You
I would-
have?
Yes, I just did the squeegee one,
Oh yeah, you did.
and then I had
That-
one
yeah, the mic was
earlier,
not
and I
on,
can't.
yeah.
Oh, my name's not Jack. I had that one before.
Yes, that's so true. Good job.
I would
guys.
like credit for
Yeah,
those,
I
'cause
don't
I
give you
don't-
credit for that.
You just got to speak
2
up.
points
And if
for
you want the
me.
mic,
No,
I will
no, the
swing
mic-
it
the
to
mic
you.
wasn't on.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that doesn't count. It's not an episode. That doesn't count. again, Diz and I are sharing a mic, and so it's like here, back and forth, like go to do. It's not even quality. Go ahead, go.
I'll wait until this telephone. Literally. Speaking of which, I have seen my friends be abused, and it makes me want to suck some jaws. Yeah, you know, it'd be like that sometimes. And you gotta be a safe place for your friend to vent.
Okay.
Without judgment. You need to speak up to your friend if you see them being a doormat and tell them, don't let yourself get hurt like that. But you do not need to intervene as a third party.
Oh, but that's what I want to do every time.
I know.
Ugh.
A problematic person just probably can't be helped. It can't be stopped. So
ooh, TRC reference.
TRC reference. Yeah, you guys, I'm not even joking when I say that bar prep has warped my brain so much because I'm thinking about like privity of contract. And I know that doesn't mean anything
like
to you guys, but
2 weeks into this, aren't you?
I know, but I'm 3 years into law school. It's just, so it's a dumb example. But basically, if you think of a friendship as a contract, the parties to that contract are you and your friend. This third party who's being a jerk face is not a party to the contract. So you don't really have standing to
what if you're a
them.
co-signer on your friend's contract? Then do you get to be?
Well, yeah, I mean,
then
if
do you
like, no.
do you get to square up then?
Like, Chloe would never do this ever. But if Chloe was trying to be a jerk face to Abby, I'd be like, Chloe, what's up? I'm the one who did this to you. Like,
Sure.
I gave you this friend.
Sure.
But
poor Chloe, she is
She's
just
been going through it.
she is the
like that
perfect
small.
example to use for like us and you.
Yeah. Overall, though, I think your duty is to your friend, and that requires being there, listening to them, letting them vent, not judging them, and also holding them accountable for their self-respect within the bounds of reason, and respecting their own dignity and not nagging them about it. But if you see the need for a friendly reminder of their own worth, then that can never hurt.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen people that are, treated wrong or that kind of thing, but it's what you do with what you're given. And so you have to support your friend. But then seeing the grace that your friend gives out is always really cool to see.
It's a good reminder of what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, as Christians especially, the grace that you give, you're probably going to need it someday too. So I think, I mean, in my life, it's always a good reminder that I should act in a certain way, and I'm not always good at it. So, but yeah, you always, and if you have to stand up for your friend, then you do. But if there is a certain point where people have to fight their own battles, and you support them as they do.
I am constantly reminded about that whole grace thing because that's not my immediate reaction. So a couple of instances come to mind. One time it was me who was the person who was, I don't want to use the word abused because that's so dramatic, but the one who was getting hurt. But in the instance where I was the one being hurt, I came to my friends, as one does, and I was telling them what happened, not even really expecting a reaction, but I got one. And it was like, one of my core memories is Lydia's jaw just dropped, and she's like, I would have punched her in the face if I had been there. And I was like,
oh my.
Thank you. I felt so supported and so loved. I was like, she would not have done that. She's just saying that she would have done that. But even the fact that she would say that made me feel like, hey, she would go to war for me if I ever needed it.
Great there.
And another example was where I was not the person getting hurt. But weirdly, the person who was getting hurt wasn't even there. So this is a weird, and I'll try to keep it as vague as possible. We're going to say A, B, C. I'll be A, the abuser will be B, and the friend will be C. C was not there. B comes to A, B, who is not, this B is not a part of the sisterhood, by the way. It starts yapping.
Like
a
Shanice. Hey, your name is Shanice, I'm not. It's
like
a video.
A rat. And I was like, are you kidding me? In what universe would you think, B, that it is okay to talk about C to me? Okay. I was like, I wanted to squish them like a bug.
Oh god.
Unfortunately,
Regis Blacker.
we were in the church and I couldn't. But I was so mad. I was like, how dare you do that? And I even kept my cool then. So.
Was C in the Sisterhood?
Mhm.
Is
Oh
it
yeah.
me?
Oh, she is in the Sisterhood. Yes.
C is in the Sisterhood. I don't really want to unpack this on air. No, B is the bad guy. A is me.
C's in the Sisterhood.
B is
I was
the.
about to say, which one
Oh, that would be the day. Infighting.
One of the questions I came up with was, or Creek, I should say, came up with, was like, how do we deal with conflict? Well, we don't get a lot of conflict. And when we do, we just give each other the silent treatment for a couple hours and then we start talking again.
So healthy.
Something else comes up and then we just move on. But anyways, I was just like, oh, I was so mad. I was so mad. And then I had to go out and be on Frontline. So I had to get it together. But
What a story.
what was I getting at with that? Oh,
I think you just want to get that off your chest.
I did, but no, there was a reason. Oh, it wasn't my job. Like, I mean, it was to curb it and to redirect it in a different way. But I couldn't, like, just flatten this person and, you know, rip them up one side and down the other, which I wanted to, but it would not have been productive and it would not have been healthy.
What else wouldn't have been productive?
I don't know.
Going to sea.
Oh, preach on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You have a microphone.
You know, as a kid I grew up with, and also an adult I grew up with, said in two different occasions, if it don't edify, don't say.
If it don't edify, I think that made it in the last one.
That's so deep, I know, but things can just go without saying if they're
They can.
not helpful.
They can. Yeah, so that is a good point, Kat, because this is not about me. This was about C, and it would not have been beneficial. So it never got brought up until, unfortunately, now, which I didn't think about before I started the story.
A.
Yeah, A and C will work through it later. But for right now, the point is...
I am confused.
C's are sitting here and C's are confused.
C does not know who C is.
Yeah.
Oh, correct, yes.
C for correct. Another instance of
I
me
am
being...
Q, and I know who C is.
Who's Q?
I'm just saying, I'm not C.
Oh.
There's
Okay.
three potential C's and they have their
We're
eyes
gonna work
squinty.
this off later. We're gonna work it out later. I guess I am actually gonna go to C.
Oh no!
So I'm gonna have to backtrack that advice, but we will work through that after the podcast. Last example of this happening, another
Just
instance
betrayed.
when I was in the choir. And this is a story that has been told on Friendeavor before, but I just want to recap it because it fits this. Someone told me that I was demon possessed when I was in the choir. Okay, and
That has nothing to do with friendship.
yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because I hit the roof. And then another friend
You should.
stepped in front of me. Not that I was going to actually go and kill this person. But she stepped in front of me.
Maybe
She's
the
like,
demon
hey.
inside of you was going
She said, hey, you are not fit. It is too soon. It's been 10 years and it's too soon.
That's crazy.
But it was actually London. And she's like, hey, no, okay, that was out of pocket. That was insane for her to say. But you can't take this out with you. So she's like, go away and go like work through it and whatever. So she was an example of someone who is kind of the third side of that, is being the person between the abuser and the abused, and kind of like, hey, we'll deal with this in a second. So those are three different ways of seeing during conflict, not necessarily within your friend group, but external forces that you can help work through it. Abby, what do you think?
I think a lot of things. Yeah, I mean, when you see your friend get hurt, you think of all things that you want to do. Well, I would just suck them right down. If I could only break a bone,
It's like half the gremlin that she turns into at night and half it.
Okay, without context. You can't call her a gremlin without
Well,
context.
here's the context. Abby turns into a gremlin at night. There's not really anything to add to that.
Wow, okay.
I'm coughing over here. But, you have this thing called the Holy Ghost, and the Holy Ghost, it really helps you out sometimes. And sometimes you don't really want to help you out, but it does. But, half the things that you want to do, you're not going to do. And you're not going to do it. You're soul talk and no done. But, yeah, just being there for your friend. And, sometimes, sometimes they might feel like they've been wronged, and maybe you don't feel like they've been wronged. And you're like,
fourth side.
Well...
That's so true.
With an A.
Yeah.
And
you shouldn't fight battles that don't deserve to be fought.
And then you fake it. Yeah. And
gassing them up.
You don't mean one word you say. But that happens too. And I would not come against your friend. I would just say, yeah. And then I would move on because everything moves on eventually.
And it's not going to help them.
It's not.
It's if you're like, well, what if you could look at it? No. There are people who their entire friendship is like, trying to be your sounding board, as in like reframes. Sometimes they just need someone to listen to them. No, sometimes they just need someone to listen to them. You don't have to be like, well, what if he was actually saying this? No, that's not what he was saying. Anyways, sorry, keep going.
Anyway, if it's something truly serious that sometimes there could be something where you actually feel like you need to step into something that might or tell a trusted grown-up with.
One of those 10, 15-year-old friends you're talking about.
There could be like things like that. But if it's just, your friend, people get hurt, and I would just be there for your friend, help them through it. If they need to scream, if they need to cry, if they need to punch something, don't let it be you. Get out of the way. Give them a punching bag. Yeah. And if you have insight, give it. And if you don't, shut your mouth. And, yeah.
What do you think about if your friend has an enemy? Do they need to be your enemy?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm kidding.
No, I wondered, actually, I don't... Typically, I say no.
I guess it depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Because if it's like, if it's truly spiteful and hateful, like if they just are irritated by them or something... then I don't think you need to be, especially if it's not ever been directed at you. But if there's someone who actively chooses to do them wrong, then I think you need to side with your friend. And
yeah, I would agree with actively choosing to do them wrong, but if they just don't if your friend just doesn't like them, and you're like,
I would wonder why your friend doesn't like them.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's something stupid like they stole mint out of my purse.
People stay doing that to me. Let me tell you something.
I steal Danielle's mints all the time.
I need to get a lock on my purse. Them youths that sing on Frontline be rummaging through my purse
rummage without permission.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
I'm about to put a mousetrap in there. I'm about to put a mousetrap in there, and just be like snippy snap. But knowing me, I would actually put my finger in there.
Yeah, I don't even do that. I ask you for it, and then you shame me.
There was only one person who did that, but this.
Okay.
No.
Plural youths.
No, the one youth rummages no, two actually, but these other ones are always like, do you have lotion? And I'm like, do not ask me one more time. All the time, mints and lotion. And I said, you need to start carrying a purse, young man. I will not be providing that for you anymore.
Told me that was what girls were for. That's why we carry purses.
Okay, so yes.
The enemy of my friend is my enemy.
In that case, yes, they are my enemy, 100%. But if it's like someone who is not stealing
someone could have something stupid from Sunday school days, and that they keep it with them forever, and then you hear about it when you're 25, and you're like, why are you so mad at them for taking your craft when you were 5?
That guy who stole my string cheese in kindergarten. Yeah.
That has stuck with Danielle.
So there's stupid things like that, but then there could be Danielle gets mad every time I say the 2-syllable word on here. But I heard you wheeze.
What?
I said stupid again, and you said
no, I say stupid. Stupid.
But then there could be some true hurt feelings from something semi-serious or whatever, and at that point, no one needs to be your enemy except your enemies.
I have a question. I had an encounter a couple weeks ago that you guys all know about. Is that person your enemy now?
No.
No!
I think I got my popcorn in Michael Jackson.
What about you?
I mean, they're not my enemy, but I'm not a fan.
I'm wary of them.
Okay, I'll take that.
So I think that they don't have to be just because
someone is your friend's enemy, they don't have to be your enemy. But also, you don't need to force your friend. You don't have to convince your friend to like them. Yeah. And you shouldn't have to force your friend to hang out with them. You should respect your friend's decision to not be around that person. If you enjoy that person, that's okay. But your friend can choose to not surround themselves. Yeah.
It takes me a little while to be like, wow, I don't like that person. But recently, I came to you guys and be like, listen, guys, this is how I feel about this person. I do not like them. And they're like, really? Why? And I laid out all the evidence, Kara. All the evidence.
And I said, if I don't say it.
It is different when you're talking to your sisterhood. That's what I'm talking about. Earlier, not right now. That was earlier. But the irony is, it's like this person had a microphone at the table when I laid out all the evidence, because they have been nothing but nice to me since then.
Oh, really?
And
that's not who I thought you were talking about.
Hold on, we have to pause to discuss this. Hold on a second. Okay, we got that sorted. But my point is that I was like almost taking it to you guys as a sounding board. Like, am I overreacting? I didn't say anything to this person. I didn't treat this person any differently. But I was like, this is multiple times now that I've had unpleasant encounters with this person. And now I don't think I like them as an individual. And then turns out they have just been super nice. So now I'm conflicted. All of that to say...
You had to say what?
We have decided that basically if your friend has an enemy or someone they don't like, you don't have to not like them on principle. It's not like you have to choose between me and them. It's not that. But you do need to respect the fact that they might have a boundary with that person that you might not have.
There's a certain level of disrespect or, we've used the word abuse, that when it crosses a line, then yes, that is my enemy too. Because I'm not going to allow someone to disrespect the people that I love and continue to allow them in my circle. So there's a line there. So yes, if you're choosing to not allow someone in your circle because there's, conflicting things or you've had bad interactions or something like, but if there is a certain line that is crossed with the people that I love, that person is no longer allowed in my circle either. Mm-hmm. They've broken trust, they've broken with the people that I love, and now they don't get to be around me either.
They spent all their leadership coins.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that phrase. But I think that what you said kind of goes back to the original question. Is there anything that you would do, not necessarily like physically in retaliation, but your retaliation in that sense would be you are no longer welcome? So there is something you would do to intervene to some extent. That makes sense. That just kind of rounds out this question nicely. You guys have anything else to add?
Not really related to that, but Abby, you're also a fan of the leadership coins, aren't you?
I
thought you loved the leadership coins. Okay.
I was ranting to my mom the other day about leadership coins. Can you explain the leadership coins to anyone who doesn't know?
So let's say that
You can use me an example.
Use you.
Go ahead.
Okay. Let's say I am the light lead, and Danielle is my team member, whatever you want to call them.
This is a touchy subject.
You're using a real subject.
And
well, Danielle's not really a team member.
Yeah. The sound waves just shot off.
Well, she's not in charge of sound ministry. She's in charge of the light ministry.
Abby has asked everyone else in the church to be, except for that one kid, and has asked everyone to be in the sound ministry except for me. And still has yet to do so. Anyways, go ahead, Abby.
Danielle, or Abby's example.
And let's say every leader is given different coins for each person because some people are different than others. So let's say I'm given 5 coins for Danielle. And let's say one day Danielle just doesn't show up. It's Sunday morning, it's 9:57, and the lights aren't on. And I get there and I'm like, why aren't the lights on? Then afterwards, I go up to Danielle and I say, you did not turn lights on. And I berate her in front of everyone. It's in the church. I just go off on her.
Grabs the microphone and say,
excuse me. She messed up, but I've just spent a coin because I've lost some trust as a leader with Danielle. And I have 4 more. or however many more you want. But let's just say I spend the rest of those 4 coins in different circumstances. I no longer have my coins, and I've lost any trust that Danielle put in me as a leader. Credibility, or as a friend. Let's say that it was just a friendship thing, and I had 5 coins. And there's only and I think it depends with many people, because some people, well, they are slow to anger, and some people will just snap your head off if you do one thing. So let's say you're given 1 coin. Well, good luck to you. But when you do things like that, you're losing respect, you're losing trust, and you're losing credibility. And, there's I would say I'm slow to anger. I would say that. I don't know if I am. I hope I am. I hope I'm patient. But there are some people that, they've spent every coin with me, and I'm not going to be nasty to them, but you have to distance.
Sometimes it's not even spending it like a direct, like just me and you. Maybe I did something in my own life that was just distasteful, or, something that was not something that a leader would do. Anyone who witnesses that or is privy to that has now lost respect for me in some sense. And be sure your sin will find you out. I don't even know what that's to do with friendship, but we're...
Well, I think you could say there's friendship coins.
Yeah.
If you directly or indirectly, your friend like mistreats you, they are unduly competitive, going back to all of that stuff, or they're talking about you behind your back, it will run out eventually, and the budget of respect and trust and like mutual, respect you have for one another has a limitation.
Yeah.
Because it's not a divine relationship, so it's not like God's mercy that never runs
Yeah.
out.
Can I use my own A, B, and C?
Yes,
Oh,
do it.
yes.
I am
Maybe
A.
you should do X, Y, Z.
Okay, X, Y, Z.
Oh, never mind.
I'm X, someone else is Y, and someone's sister is Z. Okay? Y comes to me and says, hey, I'm really mad about something I did to Z a while ago. And I really hope that Z forgives me, but I don't know if she has. And I said, well, I think we've all, grown from that. He said, and Z says, well, I wish I could tell her that, that I'm sorry, and that.
Why couldn't they?
Because I don't think Z feels comfortable doing it, and I don't think Z, there's not really a closeness, if you want to say it. There's not an easy way to do it, if you want to say that way.
Okay, but if they know that they wronged Z, shouldn't
Z's
they?
the wronger.
Y is the wronger.
Why?
Y is the one in the wrong. So if Y did something wrong, despite their closeness, why did they not feel?
Abby said she's Y.
No,
X. She's X.
X.
I'm so confused.
Z is victim. X is Abby. Y is abuser.
Okay.
Why did Y, who did the wrong, not feel closest to her? Like if you make a mistake, you go apologize.
Because I don't think Y knows how to do it, and I
Can't wait to talk about this.
I think that's the truth. And Y, says, I really hope Z knows that I feel like I made a mistake. And then Y says to me, I feel like I've made the same mistake with you. And I said, you didn't. I moved on, forgave. I said, and I feel like Z has moved on too. But Y should have probably asked for forgiveness if they truly felt like they did something. Now, Y felt like they did something wrong. They feel like they did something wrong. Am I saying the right letters?
Yes,
Yeah.
you are. You are.
Yeah, but you got our gears turning.
I'll
I know.
never tell you.
Yes, you will.
And X. Now I'm
Does
X.
Z now know?
No, Z doesn't know.
Z's about to know.
Is Y a good person?
Y is a good person.
So then why did that happen?
Y.
That was not
It's
Y has mentioned this to me probably 3 or 4 times.
Oh,
Y
yikes.
needs to go to the altar.
Y stands for yikes. why needs to go to whichever person and get this off their chest.
I think Y assumes that too much time has happened and that they don't want to. They don't. I think maybe they're scared of Z. That might be the truth right there. And
Can we place bets on who Z is?
I have $100 on her nickname ending in Z.
I have 100 leadership coins on that.
Anyway, Y is a very good person, and Y has no idea who they are, even if they listen to this. I promise you, they even know who they are. They might. Hi, Y. And but you know, the problem.
Squinty eyes. I have squinty eyes for the second time tonight.
But okay. Going back to my original.
X doesn't know where she's going with this.
Y spent the leadership coins.
Yes, okay.
Y spent the leadership coins, and Y knows it.
And Y regrets it.
Y regrets it. They regret the decision that they made, and Y somewhat repeated the decision again.
Yee.
And but they learned from their mistakes, and
So
they
did they
came
learn it
back to X for somewhat the same mistake they made, and they asked for forgiveness. But they knew they hadn't spent the last leadership coin with me.
Okay.
But they knew they spent it with Z,
Ooh,
and they don't know what to do. So if you ever spend all your coins, too bad for you.
I was about to say that like actually preach, like when you know that one bridge is burned but another one is still a lifeline, like
Isn't that crazy?
and that I do feel like that shows that you have a great deal of leadership, not coins because they're the ones spending them.
And it's time to hit the space bar.
Ow,
Moving back to a short break.
I think we should probably wrap it up first because this is going to be a long discussion.
Joe's lumberyard.
Yeah. Okay, I do have one last question if we're done with that one before we wrap up. And I know it's going to be a long episode. I might have to turn it into two parts.
Can I do an ad break for Pete's Gas and
If you must.
actually. No,
Don't
Joe's
would.
lumberyard. Yeah,
Yeah,
I got it right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know Pete's Gas.
And
Joe,
now,
Joe's lumberyard
hold on.
is-
I'll pull it in.
Okay.
Make sure you get close enough to the mic. Okay.
Abby, you done this one? Joe's
And
lumberyard?
now a word. Shh. And now a word from our sponsor, Joe's Lumberyard.
Don't. We like
Wood.
wood. Don't like plastic stuff.
stuff.
And then I don't know the rest of it.
Okay, what a good ad break.
Joe's Lumberyard.
Sponsored by Joe.
Quiznos.
If you would like to sponsor Friendeavor, we would happily accept your sponsorships. Does Bloom want to pay for ad time on here?
Would Friendeavor like to sponsor Bloom?
I think we should be sponsored by like Bounty.
By
Bigger?
what?
The quicker, bigger burr?
Yeah, it's the Sisterhood because we keep splatting. They keep.
Oh,
Bounty, did you hear that?
I don't even know if the people heard that. Hold on.
Or like an egg brand.
The Sisterhood should be sponsored by Bounty, the quicker picker upper, because we keep splatting and then they keep picking us up and then they keep bringing us back out. We splat again, but they
They're
pick
so
us up.
faithful.
Next year, Diz is going to get her own mic.
Oh my word. We'll see.
We'll see. I had a third one. I cannot find it. I thought it was under my bed. Okay, it doesn't matter. We got to wrap this up. All right, wrap up. Stop singing Joe's Lumberyard. What do we want people outside of the Sisterhood to see and learn from our friendship? / what advice would you give someone who wants a friendship like ours?
You know, the difference of what I want and what I think they do see is quite that.
Listen, but what do you want? Like, because we're not trying to put on airs. We're not trying to be something that we're not. We're not trying to exclude anybody. But we do know that there's some things that are just intangible that we have because of the grace of God and how we've grown. So what is something that people can take from our experience, apply to their own friendships, and grow from it? Do we need to think break?
One thing I would hope people would see is that you can be 100% yourself.
Yes.
Not a cliche, not just saying that. You can be yourself unapologetically, pursue what you want to pursue, have the stupid jokes that you have, like all my references, they just high-five. That was that smacking sound. And you will have...
A and X.
You can have friends and be wholly deserving of like true, deep, lasting, reciprocal friendships by being yourself.
Yes.
And I feel like that is very cliche, and people always say that, but I'm serious. You do not have to be anything that you are not, and you will still deserve and find people who will be in your corner and a part of your village. If I'm gonna keep with the cliches, might as well.
I agree. Abby, go for it.
Oh.
There is nothing like having people that accept you at your best and worst, and when they really see you at your best, then it's really nice to have them.
Amen.
There's a wave offering happening.
Yes, the music could come. We
Don't. Just like that.
That's our altar song.
But I hope that people, when they look at the Sisterhood, I hope they look at us, and I hope that they see for girls, women, whatever you want to call us, or girls. I hate when people call us women. Girls.
Yeah, little women.
And I hope that they see for girls that, you know, they get along, they have a great time, they're close, they do amazing things together, and they work amazingly in the kingdom of God together and separate, and that no matter what happens, they are going to be there for each other, and they're just going to keep trucking, and not everyone understands them, and that's okay. They have a great time. And
So
we are
true.
misunderstood.
Some people think all we do is eat, but we don't. That's just most of the time.
Abby, you're not everyone understands them. That was giving Link in that video you love of him, Link Neal.
I have a folder of screen recordings of random videos, and that's one of them. And
Yeah.
I love that.
Rhett and Link.
But yeah, and I hope if someone wanted a friendship like Sisterhood, I would say, well, good luck. It's a lot of work. It's like a full-time job trying to get off the ground. I tell you what.
She used to call us
No,
leeches.
that's true.
Yeah, I used to call them leeches, and you know.
She still does to Creek.
I do. And
Leech Creek.
but if you want to have, even with just one other person, it doesn't have to be 4, 5, 6, whatever. Make it an even number if you can, though. I will tell you that would be hard. You just have to put in the time and energy, and it sounds so generic and it sounds so cliche, but you get out what you put into it.
It's
And,
true. I saw you.
You can't be rude and distant and standoffish and expect everyone else just to cater to you. They're gonna move on without you. And
Abby, you've got some truth bombs tonight.
She does.
that's it.
That's all she wrote.
If you're like 15, 16, 14, 13, whatever you are, just, if there's people that you really like, just make it work, because at the end of the day, you might have friends longer than you're going to be married. So when you really think about it, we are on year 12.
Yep.
Yeah, if people haven't been married 12 years, and we're still going strong. The four of us.
Okay. Lydia, why don't you take us home?
That is great.
I love the Sisterhood.
Oh, we love you too, but I like that.
We're not that unified.
Hey, that was another
I
Odyssey
was.
reference that
I
I did not get
cackled
credit
over
for.
it.
Okay.
I cackled over it.
There's a
That's
microphone
all
right in front of you. Go.
I guess I want people, if they look at the Sisterhood, I mean, we have a unique thing because we are two sets of sisters, and I feel like that's not going to be everybody's experience, but find the people that you vibe with, gel with, and then, like Abby said, just make it work. If you're not willing to put in the work, it won't work, because it's not just going to happen. And it has to be a mix of having fun, but also having the deep, meaningful conversations. You have to build the foundation. There's a lot of people that I observe their friendships, and it's just absolute ridiculousness at all times. And we all know the story of the man that built his house on the sand.
Yeah.
I bet he had a lot of fun on the sand.
Yeah.
But he didn't have the house at the end. Abby really wants to say
That's
something.
so true.
If your friendship is either constant chaos, and by chaos I don't mean fun chaos, I mean drama and infighting and outfighting and just absolute chaos, don't do that. Or if your friendship is chaos, and by chaos I don't mean fun and full of crazy adventures, I mean drama and fighting with each other and just dragging each other under the bus and other people on the bus 24/7, that's not productive either. And then there was the second one, I can't remember what it was chaos, and it was, what did I say, Danielle? I didn't say it yet, it was in my head. This is not the chaos I'm talking about.
You said infighting and outfighting.
Yeah, there was two friendships.
Go.
Chaos, and or if your friendship is completely fake.
We didn't even get
Fake
to that.
by you don't actually really love your friendship. You just kind of putting it on for appearance sake and Instagram, and you know, I need my little buddy so I can just not a friend.
Best
And all that stuff. Just scrap it. Find somebody else, because
Seriously,
it's not gonna work out. It's not true friendship. Fake, and the chaos of your rudeness and your fighting. And I'm gonna be quiet now.
that's a fact.
So from the Sisterhood.
Sand. That's what you were saying. House on sand.
Anyway, so you have to build the foundation, and like Abby was saying, we've had 12 years of building foundation.
At pivotal years of our lives, I would say, too.
Yeah. But now we have had a lot of fun times. We've had a lot of crazy times. We've had a lot of sad times. We've had a lot of happy times. We've seen a lot of growth. And you don't have to have 12 years of friendship to have the same. You just have to put the work in.
Well, I would like to thank the Sisterhood for being here tonight. Yeah, go ahead and give
We
yourselves...
weren't allowed to clap.
I'm clapping for myself. And I'm also clapping for Abby and Diz, because they had some good truth bombs.
Okay, thank you. You can stop clapping now.
Also, if we're going to do another one of these, I think we should talk more about the fakeness, because
I agree.
can't.
I agree. And if we weren't so long right now, I'd keep going. Although we could keep going, I could split it into two parts.
This
But
isn't Joe Rogan.
we'll go ahead and end it here for tonight, and they will definitely be back. Even if they don't want to be, they're going to be back. So thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you just for being a part of Friendeavor all this time. 2 years of the podcast, 4 years of Friendeavor. It really means so much to me, this platform, and being able to talk about something that I love, and being able to help support people, even if I've never met you and you found even one little thing of truth. It doesn't even have to be something I said. It could be something Kayla said or one of the Sisterhood. If any of Friendeavor has helped you, then I feel like I have succeeded. And I would be very honored if you would pass this on to your friend, share an episode, your favorite one, tag them in a post, whatever. Just get the word out about Friendeavor. That way, when season 3 rolls around in September, we'll be able to grow and have the audience that wants to learn about friendships and strengthen friendships. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful summer, and we will see you in season 3. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Friendeavor the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And if you enjoyed today's content, leave a review and share with a friend. You can find the show notes on our website, www.friendeavor.net, and in the description of this episode.
Friendship is a journey. It's an endeavor. We'll see you next time on Friendeavor.